It's time for Mornings at 8 with Jonathan Mark on AM 1480 WLEA.
And yes, it is time for Mornings at 8, and here we are on a Tuesday morning. And as I've said in the past, time and time again, the best that can be said for Tuesday is, at least it's not Monday, all over again. So that's always a good thing. Boy, the weather's a lot nicer than it was. Man, it's nice and comfortable. It was kind of cool yesterday. Going to be another cool or semi-cool day or two ahead of us, and weather's much better than it's been. Nice. I think that rain helped, too. It kind of cooled things down. Well, as I mentioned yesterday, we have two major events coming up at the end of this week in the Canisteo Valley. One in Hornell and one in Canisteo. And as I said, the August Macker starts Friday in Hornell, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Huge event. And I was thinking driving up here this morning, there were, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 big parking lots downtown, 4 really big parking lots. So there should be plenty of parking. And that's a good deal because there's going to be a lot of people downtown watching basketball for 3 days. It's going to be a big event, always has been. And also in Canisteo is the Smoke in the Valley, the first such event of its kind in the area. I'm pretty sure, Smoke in the Valley. And there's going to be a lot going on in Canisteo. That's on Saturday. And tomorrow morning at 8:05, I'm going to have somebody on here live who is going to tell us a lot more about Smoke in the Valley. And as I've said in the past, any event that involves eating and food is always a good thing. And there's going to be a lot of really top-notch barbecuing or grilling at the American Legion in Canisteo. So I'll have somebody on tomorrow morning to tell us more about that. Well, let's see here. We have a lot of landlords out there listening, I'm sure, and tenants, right? Okay. Well, there are a number of changes to New York's rent laws going into effect. And it's going to affect landlords and tenants. So I thought it'd be a good idea if I told you about some of them anyway. 3 changes. And where do I find this? WSKG. Let's see here. What every landlord and tenant should know about New York's rent laws. Housing attorney Nicholas Moralia from Burgess and Moralia, I guess it's a law firm, specializes in evictions. He said that he handled more than 3,000 evictions in Rochester, Buffalo, and Syracuse last year and noted 3 key changes for renters. The first change is how landlords can demand late rent. Under the old laws, a landlord could simply ask for late rent, and that would be considered a legal warning. Now, a landlord needs to hire someone to serve a notice to a tenant, telling them that they have 2 weeks to pay or they're headed to court. He says, where is it here? The only thing at this point now recoverable is base rent only. And that means if a tenant is taken to court, a landlord can no longer ask the tenant to cover a landlord's legal or late fees, the second key change in the law. And the final change can stop an eviction. If the tenant if the tenant can't settle on an arrangement with the landlord in court, they can pay the base rent without late fees and not be evicted. The tenant could also say, I have the $1,000 I was supposed to have a month ago, and by law the whole thing starts all over again, he said. And he also noted that with those new laws, the landlords are on the hook for their own legal fees and costs to serve notice to tenants. They also lose out on late payment fees, which landlords may have used to pay bills for the properties. If the tenants pay late, then the landlord may be late with their payments. There is no corresponding changes for landlords to pay their bills 14 days late, he said. Their mortgage is always going to be due on the 1st. Their water, their gas bills. So 14 days seems a little extreme to me. It was an emergency overnight law, apparently. These laws were passed with very little, if any, time for feedback, and I think that the changes were too drastic. Housing advocate Ryan Acuff of Rochester's citywide tenant union, I didn't know the tenants had a union, but anyway, thinks all the changes are a good start toward housing justice. There's that word again. He said people are starting to realize that when our tenants have basic rights, the community benefits as a whole, said Acuff. This Emergency Tenant Protection Act will work with habitability issues because tenants will have more protections against unjust evictions. So there you go. And those changes will probably affect at least a number of our listeners. I'm sure there are tenants out there, there are landlords. So if you want to find out more about that, I guess you can access the WSKG website and find out about these new tenant landlord laws. And as you heard on the news, of course, ICE is in the news again, deportations and all that. Now, this is from CNN. ICE officers came for a Tennessee man. His neighbor stepped in to stop them. When U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials tried to take a Tennessee man into custody early Monday morning, that was yesterday, the man's neighbors stepped up to stop them. And that was what the CNN affiliates, there were two TV stations, that's what they reported. An ICE vehicle had followed the man's van, trying to pull it over, and then blocked it in when the van driver pulled up to a house in Hermitage, that's near Nashville. The driver alerted immigrants' rights advocates and neighbors, and they rallied, bringing the man and his son, who was in the van with him, water, gas, and food so they could stay in the van and avoid possible detention, the affiliates reported. The standoff lasted for hours. The cops in Nashville were called, but stood by, quote, to keep the peace if necessary, and that's what they said in a statement on their website. At some point, the neighbors formed a human chain around the man and his son, who weren't identified, allowing them to get into a house and later to get away from the house to a car and drive away. So, okay, a little more here. This is a quote. "I was real scared about what was going on," said a neighbor. And that was in an interview posted on Facebook by CNN. "It put a lot of fear in me because it could be me, it could be my family, it could be anybody. It could be your neighbors, just like it was my neighbor today." So she said, a woman that they've known the family for 14 years. ICE officers chose to depart the scene without making an arrest to de-escalate the situation, ICE spokesman said. And the spokesman also, he wouldn't say who the agency's target or targets may have been so as not to compromise a potential future operation that would seek to arrest the individual at a different time and place. The ICE agents had an administrative warrant. What else here? ICE said in a statement he was attempting to serve a detainer on the man. Advocates argue that ICE warrants aren't the same as the warrants other law enforcement agencies get judges to approve in court because they aren't reviewed by an independent body and don't give agents authority to conduct searches inside homes and vehicles without consent. And who was that? A lawyer, a lawyer on the scene, that's right, Roo. There was a lawyer on the scene, and he witnessed Monday's standoff. And he said the ICE agents were sort of bullying the man. They were saying, if you don't come out, we're going to arrest you, and we're going to arrest your 12-year-old son. And this lawyer said that's not legal, it's not the right law. Is this a neighbor? A neighbor said, we made sure they had water, they had food. We put gas back in the vehicle when they were getting low just to be sure they were okay. And this isn't the first time advocates have tried to block ICE from detaining and potentially deporting someone, and results of such efforts have been mixed. A video that went viral earlier this year showed a man in upstate New York, right here, well, not right here, but somewhere upstate New York, arguing with an ICE officer who attempted to stop a vehicle he was driving and detain the passengers inside. The man refused to open his car door and repeatedly told the officers the warrant they had wasn't signed by a judge, and the officers eventually departed the scene, and the agency said it would to avoid further disruption. And last year in North Carolina, advocates surrounded an ICE van in North Carolina in an attempt to block the deportation of an undocumented immigrant who had been living in sanctuary in a local church. The cops eventually arrested 27 people that day, and the undocumented immigrant was deported days later. So, on Monday, yesterday, advocates and neighbors alike told CNN they won't back down. I know they're going to come back, and when they come back, we're coming back, said this neighbor. So, Now, I'm thinking, what? Is that, am I missing something here? I've got to be missing something. So let's say state troopers or a sheriff's deputy or local cops or something. They're going to arrest a neighbor of yours, right? Because they've broken the law in some fashion, whatever they've done. And they come to arrest your neighbor. Well, maybe not your neighbor. Let's say they come to arrest a guy, okay? And his neighbors stop them. As I said, am I missing something here? Here, ICE is law enforcement, right? So is a state trooper or a sheriff's deputy or a local cop. They're law enforcement. One's at the federal level, the ICE agent. So the ICE agents come, and they're going to arrest this guy, and the neighbors stop them, and that's perfectly fine. How in the world is that fine? So, as I said, if they were going to arrest your neighbor, let's say, and you went out there and you and your other neighbors, ganged up and helped this guy or stopped the officers, wouldn't that be against the law? I think. I don't know. As I said, maybe I'm missing something. But apparently it's perfectly okay, and ICE just left. So when they said that they're going to arrest this guy, and his neighbors won't let him, and it's okay, fine, we'll just go. That's fine. And that really doesn't have... I think things have really broken down. I mean, I really think that things have broken down here. There's something massively wrong with that. Okay, fine, that's what's going on there, and that's going to continue and continue. I'm sure I'll have a lot more stories about that. And as I said, nobody raised a stink. Nobody raised a stink. 8 years under Obama, nobody said boo, and now it's, okay, fine. Let's see here. Right, 3 million people in 8 years were deported, and nobody said anything. Okay, fine. Hey, if you're going to be a criminal, brush up on your driving skills. Okay, wear your seatbelt. Okay, very important. This is in Australia. This is from a website, AFP.com. Australian authorities have uncovered a $140 million stash of amphetamines after an alleged criminal's run-in with the law saw his drug-filled van crash into a cop's car outside a police station. Security camera footage released on Tuesday, that's this morning, showed a white van plowing into the front of a vehicle parked outside a suburban Sydney cop station before speeding off down the street. So this guy hits a cop car and takes off. The police say the alleged 26-year-old driver was pulled over about an hour later, less than a 10-minute drive away from the accident scene. The van was said to be packed with moving boxes containing 523 pounds of methamphetamine, an illegal drug commonly known as ice, with an estimated total street value of, as I said, what was it, about $140 million. Australia has a growing problem with meth, with the government report released last year showing the country has proportionally more users than most nations. The van driver has been charged with, well, this, that, and the other thing, and he's going to appear back in court. But so he... Boy, if you're going to hit a cop's car, don't do it right smack in the police station parking lot, okay? And what was he doing in the parking lot with all that meth in his truck? I mean, what, he asking for directions or something, or what? He had 523 pounds of an illegal substance worth $140 million cash, and he drives into a police station. I don't know. That's a little strange there. And what else have we here? Oh, we have... Oh, boy. Maybe I'll leave that one for later. Okay. Posting reviews. If you post a review on a website, posting reviews has become second nature for many consumers nowadays. 82% of adults say they read online reviews at least some of the time, according to a Pew Research Center poll or a study. So when they have a bad experience with the business, up goes a review to share it with others. But one man in Florida got himself into a bunch of trouble when a veterinarian sued him for posting a bad review. He said he didn't like the business and it wasn't run very well and all that, and so they sued him. And he had $26,000 in legal costs. And he makes $20,000 a year on Social Security income, but $26,000 in legal fees. So let me see. Somebody else filed posted a bad review of a restaurant, and they were sued by the restaurant. And where's another one here? Somebody posted a bad review of a doctor, and the doctor sued. So apparently, if you post a bad review, you can brace yourself to be sued. I don't know. That's a little odd, too. Well, there are strange people out there all over the place. Well, here's one thing that is not strange. As a matter of fact, is very logical, very sensible, and is very necessary. Insurance. That's right, insurance. Everybody needs insurance. The Ryan agencies, no better choice than the Ryan agencies. They have offices in Hornell, Jasper, and Wellsville. They're local. They're independent. They do the insurance shopping for you. It's like having your own personal insurance shopper, and what could be better than that? Offhand, I can't think of anything. Okay, they have access to many insurance companies to find the best rates for you. They're insurance experts. They offer sound, unbiased advice. They're friendly. They're local. You can access their website to find out more, which is RyanAgencies.com. The Ryan Agencies.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
News from the NFL, where the New York Giants signed number one draft pick quarterback Daniel Jones to a 4-year, $25.6 million contract. The deal is fully guaranteed and includes a $16.7 million signing bonus. Seattle Seahawks defensive lineman Jaron Reed has been suspended for the first 6 games of the season for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The suspension is in connection with a domestic violence incident in 2017. Reed was never charged or arrested. In NBA news, the Washington Wizards will reportedly offer guard Bradley Beal a 3-year, $111 million max contract extension on Friday. It's the first day the All-Star is eligible to sign an extension. In baseball games of note, the Twins topped the Yankees 8-6. Minnesota still holds a 3-game lead on Cleveland for first in the AL Central. The Indians kept pace with a 7-3 win over the Blue Jays. The Cubs fall to the Giants 5-4, but Chicago still has a 2-game lead on Milwaukee atop the NL Central, with the Brewers losing to the Reds 6-5.
From the Fox Business Network, Apple could be buying Intel's unit that makes modems for smartphones. The Wall Street Journal says the two companies are in advanced talks. The modem business could be worth $1 billion or more. Smartphone business was losing money for Intel. Apple would acquire Intel's research work on 5G phone chips. Intel has ended its work on 5G for phones, but plans to continue 5G work for other uses. Car dealer chain AutoNation is replacing its new CEO, who was only with the company since March. That CEO, Carl Liebert, was previously with financial services company USAA and 24-Hour Fitness. AutoNation decided he wasn't right for the auto business. Chief Financial Officer Cheryl Miller will move up to CEO. The Dow was up 17 yesterday. NASDAQ gained 57, S&P up 8. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section and after Dad's back injury. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Trouble with opioids can start at home with unused medicines such as pills, patches, and syrups. You can remove the risk and protect your family. Find out how at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Today at Simmons Rockwell Ford, receive up to $2,500 in Ford trade assistance with your 99 or newer vehicle trade. Now purchase a new 2019 Ford Escape SE 4x4, equipped with heated power seat, 8-inch touchscreen display, and alloy wheels. With Ford trade assistance, buy for only $21,999. Shop the Simmons Rockwell Ford dealership near you. Simmons-Rockwell.com.
And here we are. Okay, this is from Newsweek. You know, you go to fast food place. Let's say a McDonald's, right? Okay, and there are a lot of people in there, and everybody, especially like at noon or something, or around supper time. And there are a lot of people in there, and it's got to be hard working at a fast food place. Now, I've never worked at a fast food place, but I think it's harder than it really looks. Okay, matter of fact, in some cases, they can get really tough. Such as, Georgia woman barged into McDonald's kitchen, fired a gun because her fries were cold. As said, this was from Newsweek. A Georgia woman reportedly barged into a McDonald's restaurant kitchen and fired a shot into the floor after complaining that her fries were cold. According to WTOC, wherever that is, I guess it's in Georgia somewhere, the manager at the McDonald's on August Drive in Garden City had gone back to get the woman some new fries when she followed behind with a gun. The woman had left the McDonald's restaurant by the time Garden City cops arrived around 2:45 on Monday afternoon, but they later stopped her and arrested her. Let me see. She's charged with, firing a gun, I guess. Anyway, a number of charges. So in June, a Tennessee woman allegedly attacked a McDonald's drive-thru manager with a stun gun because her order was taking too long. She too was arrested. And what happened then? Hit the employee with a stun gun. According to the victim, a 19-year-old guy, Glidwell hurled insults about his sexuality as she punched him and then hit him with a stun gun. Okay, what else here? Another one. In Melbourne, Australia, back in early June, a man blasted a member of McDonald's drive-thru staff in the face with a fire extinguisher after taunting her about the price of cheeseburgers, while others in the vehicle recorded the incident on their cell phones. And actually, you hit somebody with a burst of the fire extinguisher thing, or whatever it is, the chemical. It can kill you. It can blind you. It's bad. Anyway, so that guy wound up going to a hospital in March. Cops in Indiana charged a McDonald's worker with battery after he threw a cheeseburger at a fellow member of staff for working too slowly. And there we have it. Wow. I mean, who knew? Who knew that a McDonald's or any fast food place could possibly be so violent? You know, I mean, really? Stun guns? Firing guns? Wow. Fire extinguishers? Good grief. Anyway, okay, that's it. And I guess I will see you tomorrow morning at 8:05. Bye.